Hello, good evening or good afternoon, okay, to my students. Welcome to today's class. I hope you're enjoying your afternoon. Okay, I know my students are very, very hardworking. Most of them are already studying for the exam, which is going to be, will start next week. Okay, but anyway, I just want to carry on with my lesson. And anyway, today you're very lucky because today's class is going to be a very short one because it's a more or less of a of a revision of what you have learned in Form 1 actually, okay, when you learn about reproduction. So today's last class is on, we're starting with chapter 15, and this is the last chapter of Form 4. So I'm doing this for the benefit of my Form 5 students. Okay, so this year I'm teaching Form 5. So I hope that, yeah, my students are watching and hope that they will be able to reap the benefits from today's class. Okay, I see Jia Wei, good afternoon, or good evening. Okay, Jen Xuan, good afternoon. Okay, so I hope that you will stay with me until the end. So it won't take very long. Okay, so today's concepts are very simple. It's going to be next week's concept that will be a little bit more technical. So today's one is nothing to worry about. Okay, so we're just gonna sail through. All right. Okay, so let me share screen. I hope you can hear me well. Okay, Jen Xuan and Jia Wei, are you okay? Can you hear me? Okay, I hope you can see this. Can? All right. So I'm going to start with chapter 15. We have already done chapter 14, right, a few weeks ago. And chapter 15 actually is not very difficult. Only thing is a little bit more technical when it comes to the formation of sperm and also the oocyte, which is the ovum, and also the menstrual cycle. Okay, other than that, everything is actually quite easy. Okay, right, you can see that. I hope, Jen Xuan, right, thank you for your feedback. All right, thank you for your feedback. Okay, now let's start. All right, okay, let's start with this. Okay, today I'm going to do 15.1. I'm going to introduce to you the reproductive system of humans. So as you know, we are talking about the humans, they reproduce sexually. So we have the male and female, okay, reproductive systems. So we're gonna explore the function and also the structure of each of the systems. All right, okay. So now, so let's look at the female reproductive system. So here is a model of the female reproductive system. You will see here that actually a lot of blood vessels, okay, which carry blood to and away from the system. Okay, so there are actually 5 parts that you have to remember. Okay, what are the 5 parts? Okay, first of all, you have the all-important organ called the ovary. Okay, the ovary is the reproductive, or you call the organ which produces the ovum, okay? And also it produces the very important hormones, the sexual hormones, okay, the female hormones, which help to regulate the menstrual cycle. Okay, all right. Okay, I see there's another comment here. All right, yeah, all right, you're welcome. Okay, so let's go to the next part. All right. Uterus, okay, uterus is actually the part where the ovum, where the baby develops. Okay, I'll just look at it generally, and afterwards we go to one by one. Okay, next, fallopian tube. Okay, remember there are actually 2 fallopian tubes because there are 2 ovaries. Okay, and they actually join the ovary to the uterus. Okay, so it's actually fallopian tubes, and fallopian tube actually there's another name for it called oviductus. Oviductus and fallopian tube, they refer to the same thing. Okay, next, cervix. Cervix is actually the neck or the opening to the uterus. Okay, cervix. And there's we have cervical cancer. That part is actually, for women, we have the cases like cervical cancer and of course uterus cancer and so on. So this is a part where actually will dilate to allow the baby to be born, okay, during childbirth. And lastly, you will have the vagina here, which is the passage for the sperm to move into the body of the female. Okay, so just remember these 5 parts: ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, and vagina. So you should know how to label them. Okay, label them correctly. And here, fallopian tube is also known as oviductus. Okay, when you say the word duct, it actually means a tube which connects one part to another part. That's called a duct. Okay, remember D-U-C-T, not D-U-C-K. Okay, so I always get when you write duct, you tend to write D-U-C-K, right? Because it's a more common word for you. Okay, let's look at the female reproductive system. Yeah, we'll look at each part of it. Okay, uterus. Now, uterus is a very muscular organ. Okay, it's very muscular and it's got very thick muscles, and it also is supplied with a lot of blood vessels. Okay, it's an organ with thick muscular walls. Okay, it will actually, when the baby is growing inside the uterus, it will actually expand. All right, what they call it will relax. Okay, the muscles here allow the baby to grow. Okay, and during childbirth, the uterus has got muscles here that will contract and push the baby out. Okay, so you have a thick endometrium tissue. The endometrium refers to the blood vessels, the lining inside here. So the endometrium is referring to here. Okay, when you look at endometrium, the wall is muscular, but the endometrium refers to the internal. Let me look at this. Let me draw this. This part here. It will be rich with blood vessels. So the endometrium refers to the tissues that are the blood vessels, the vascular system there with a blood and all that. That is the lining. We call it endometrium. Okay, lines the inner wall of the uterus. It secretes mucus. It also has a lot of blood vessels. Okay, that's why we have our monthly period. Okay, where we have a discharge that comes out every month. Okay. Okay, next, this endometrium is the place where the embryo implants. So once the zygote has been formed, you need a place for the zygote to implant, or we can't, in other words, stick to it so that it will not get discharged from the uterus. And it has to stick to the endometrium because the zygote needs nutrient, and the blood supplies nutrient for the baby to grow. Okay, so there has to be a process of the zygote sticking onto the rich tissue layer here to absorb minerals and also substances. Okay, so and the endometrium, all right, supplies which is rich in blood vessels, supplies the embryo with nutrients and oxygen. Okay, throughout the entire 9 months, or rather 40 weeks, where the baby develops inside the mother's womb. Okay, so this is all about the uterus. So like I mentioned, it's all nothing technical here. What you know here is you have already learned in Form 1. Only thing is you need to be a bit more technical with the terms. So now you see the word endometrium. Okay, when you were in Form 1, you did not have this name endometrium. So now you learn a bit more technical terms on it. But the concept is always the same. Okay, now let's go on to the next one. Okay, what are we going to look at here? We are going to look at the fallopian tube. Okay, the fallopian tube is a very important organ. Okay, Panko, good evening. Okay, thanks for joining my class. I hope your students are also with me today. Yeah, but it's all right. Okay, and maybe everyone's busy having the exam, so it's all right. Okay, they can watch it whenever they want to. Okay, fallopian tube. So there are two, right? Because there are two ovaries, okay, on the left and on the right. They are thin and muscular tubes, but not as muscular as the uterus. Okay, it functions as just to connect the ovary to the uterus, whereby when the ovum is released, okay, during the 14th day of your menstrual cycle, the ovum will move, okay, will be transferred to the fallopian tube, and this is where the fertilization will happen if there happens to be sperm. Okay, so the inner wall is lined with cilia. Now, what is cilia? Okay, I'm going to show you cilia. So this is actually cilia. This is a picture taken from inside the fallopian tube. So if you put a tube inside there with a camera, they call it laparoscope, you will see that there are very fine hairs on the tube, okay, inside the tube. And these hairs are called cilia. So singular is called cilium, C-I-L-L-I-U-M. Cilia is plural. So what it does is you have this sweeping motion. Okay, the ovum does not move by itself. As you know, sperm is the one that swims. Okay, so you can't say the ovum swims. It doesn't have the adaptation to move actually. But ovum can also move, will be able to move from the ovary where it's released out to the uterus, okay, because of this sweeping motion of the cilia. So the cilia function is to sweep it, all right, to sweep it. All right, okay, that is the function of cilia. So the action of the cilia, together with the peristalsis of the fallopian tube, because it's muscular, so it's able to, contract, relax rhythmically, all right, that is to push the oocyte, okay, or the ovum, okay, to move into the fallopian tube. It will deliver the secondary oocyte. Okay, we will see that in the next lesson. What is secondary oocyte is actually a more technical name of the ovum. Okay, or if it's already been fertilized, we call it embryo. Okay, a zygote and then embryo. So it moves down the fallopian tube. Roughly, it takes about 7 days. Okay, if it's already fertilized. So if it's not fertilized, the egg, it will be moving down as well, but it doesn't take 7 days. Okay, down to the uterus. Okay, and to be discharged if it's not fertilized, and will be implanted if it's already fertilized. Okay, so that's the fallopian tube. Okay, next, now we look at the next part. This is the ovaries. Okay, we have two, one on the left, one on the right. And this is very important because this is called the gonad. Okay, you see the word gonad. Gonad is the sexual reproductive organ. Okay, it's an organ which produces the gametes. The gamete here is the ovum, or more technically, it's called the oocyte. Okay, so the female besides producing the ovum, okay, it also produces very important female sex hormones. So we have two. One is called estrogen, and the other one is called progesterone. We will see the function later when we look at menstrual cycle. So estrogen in American spelling is estrogen, but we tend to follow the British spelling, so we use O, okay, OES, but it's still pronounced the same way. It's called estrogen with an O there. Same like the esophagus, okay, because the one that you after you eat, you swallow, the food goes into esophagus. For British spelling is OESOPHAGUS. American is ESO. Okay, so I would encourage my students to use the British spelling. Okay, so you have these two all important female sex hormones. Okay, let's go on to the next one, right? So here you see the opening to the uterus, which is known as the cervix. Okay, now the cervix is here you will see is a narrow opening. So I'm going to show you a picture. All right, it secretes mucus to help the sperm to swim up to the fallopian tubes. So if you see this picture here, now here, this is a normal cervix. You see that the opening here is actually very small. It only allows the menstrual blood to come out, which is, we have it every month, you have a period cycle. So it allows the menstrual to come out. It also allows the sperm to go in. Okay, that is doing normal, right? But if the the mother is pregnant and she's about to give birth, this cervix will dilate. Dilate means it will thin out. You see now it's very thick, right? This surface is like very thick, very muscular, and it will thin out. That means it will open up, and until the biggest that you can have is 10 cm in diameter, which is quite big, all right? And that is to allow the baby's head to move through. So it dilates because of the action of hormones. So during labor, during childbirth, hormones will be released in large amounts, and that is going to change the condition of your cervix so that it will thin out and allows the baby to move out. Okay, so now this is how it looks like if you're not pregnant. Okay, if you're not giving birth. Okay, this is how it looks like for all of us. And the one at the bottom here is the one with disease. So it's cervicitis. Okay, so it is infection of the cervix. Okay, so this is the normal one. All right, so it secretes mucus. It also helps the sperm to swim out. So it allows the sperm to swim out. So there's an opening. The opening is always there. All right, but it's very small at the moment. Okay, next one, we look at the vagina. All right, lastly, vagina. So vagina is the part which connects the outer part of the body to the uterus. Okay, it's a canal. It's like a tube, right? A canal where sperms enter, and this is where the penis enters as well. Okay, the penis of the male, right? The organ. So it serves as a passage for birth. The baby comes out through there, and also for menstrual blood to come out for menstruation. Okay, and you will see here. Now you see here. This is the vagina. The vagina is about a few inches long, right? And you can see this is the uterus. The uterus is actually not it's not upright. It is slightly prolapsed. That means it is like slightly facing forward. Okay, so this is the anterior of the woman, and this is the posterior. So you'll see from the side, you can see very obvious that this is the uterus. So you need to know how to label as well. The one that looks like a pear, right? An upturned pear, a pear that is upside down, that is actually the uterus. Okay, and this is the urinary bladder. All right, urinary bladder is to store urine, which comes from the kidney, and this is the urethra. So urethra is the tube that allows urine to come out. You will see that in women, it's separated. It is not the same as the vagina. So we have urethra, you have vagina. This is for the baby and the sperm to go in, the baby to come out, right? And the other one is the rectum here. Now this is for the food, all right? Not food. The we call feces, yeah, from the product of your digestion, all right? Things that are not absorbed. These are all the things that you need to remove from your digestive tract. So you see there are three actually, okay? Three separate things here. All right, so you do not mix up. So urethra is separated. So for women, urethra is not a part of the female reproductive system. It is not, okay, because it's not connected in any way to the vagina. Okay, but the male, you will see that it's the same. It is connected. So you'll see that afterwards. So you have the urethra, then you have the vagina, that is for the reproductive, right? And this rectum is for the digestive system part. Okay, so you have three here. Okay, so next, let's look at the male now. Okay, I don't assume there's any question because today's lesson is actually very simple. It's just to remind and to recall what you've learned in Form 1. Just that you need a little bit of technical terms only. Okay, here for the female reproductive system, you need to remember 7. There are 7 parts, okay? You have the urethra, penis, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, okay? Vas deferens, we call the sperm duct, vas deferens, and testicle testis is a general name. That means it's not the science name. So in order to say a more correct, you say testis. Okay, testis is not correct. Testicle is just a common layman term for the same thing, the testis. Okay, just remember the 7. All right, let's look at one by one. Okay, first of all, seminal vesicle. Now, where is seminal vesicle? If you look at this model here, all right. Okay, wait first. Okay, it secretes fluid filled with nutrients for the sperm. So the sperm is not produced there. It is actually stored there. Okay, the sperm comes out from the testis, which is here, testicle here, all right, and it swims up. Moves up through what we call the sperm duct, and it is stored over here. So you will see that the sperm seminal vesicle is the one. It looks like leaves, 2 lobes like that. There are 2, one on this side and one on the other side. So this is the seminal vesicle. Okay, it actually stores this sperm. It also produces some liquid that will actually gives energy to the sperm. Okay, it has sugar, the substance that is secreted. There's fructose, there's ascorbic acid, and there's some hormone as well. So this the liquid makes up semen. Semen is not just sperm. Semen is the sperm plus the liquid here. Okay, plus another one, a prostate gland also produces the liquid. So here you will see seminal vesicle. It looks like 2 leaves, small little things left and right here. That is your seminal vesicle. Okay, and here's another picture, a large one. Here you can see very clearly the seminal vesicle are these 2 structures here. Okay, this one. And the very big one, the one at the back, this is the bladder. See, the urinary bladder, which is behind. Okay, and the one at the bottom, the small little walnut shape there, that is actually the prostate gland, which you will look at it afterwards. Okay, so remember the seminal vesicle, it looks like 2 little leaves, like longish kind of a shape. All right, okay, now prostate gland. Prostate gland, there's one prostate gland. It looks larger than the seminal vesicle. Okay, what does it do? It also secretes a fluid. It helps to activate the sperm. It helps the sperm to swim. Okay, it helps the sperm in its movement. So it activates the sperm. Okay, so now where is it? You can see here it's just next to the seminal vesicle. And here you can see over here. Okay, prostate gland is here. All right, and here in the same picture you will see this large one at the bottom of your 2 seminal vesicles. Over there is the prostate gland. Now, prostate gland for men, usually some of them will have problem. It seems 1 in 10 out of men will have a problem with the prostate gland. As they approach older age, that means maybe past 60 years old, many of them will have enlarged prostate gland. Okay, the prostate gland enlarges, and it actually gives them difficulty when they urinate. So sometimes the urine will just trickle out very little, all right? Very little because it's difficult to urinate because when it enlarges, it sort of presses onto the urethra. So that is a minor difficulty, all right, when it comes to men. Some of them will have a problem with this. And even worse, some of them can cause cancer. So they have cancer of the prostate gland. So like I always mention, women, we are afraid of having breast cancer, right? For men, they are afraid of having, prostate gland. It's quite common. It seems 1 out of 10 might have problem with the prostate gland. Okay, so that's why when they notice that their urination is getting a little bit difficult, all right, they probably have to get it checked out with the doctor, all right, to see whether the prostate gland could be the problem for it. All right, okay, so let's go on. It's a little bit of general knowledge. I like to impart a lot of general knowledge to my students. Whenever I talk about something, I want you to know more about it, okay? Okay, now testis. So sometimes you'll see this word, spelled this way, T-E-S-T-E-S. Okay, there's no problem because this is plural. Plural meaning many, a lot. The T-E-S-T-I-S is singular. So you can use them both interchangeably. It's okay because we don't specify whether it's singular or plural. We will mark it if the fact is correct. Okay, it's very simple, easy to locate. Testicles, the testes are outside the body, all right? There are 2 of them. And this is the all-important organ, or we call it gonad as well. They produce the sperms. Okay, so without these testicles or without these testes, the sperms will not be able to produce. All right, okay, after that, I tell you something about, ancient China, you have this called eunuchs. Wait, now they are enclosed within the scrotum. Scrotum is actually the skin, right? You will see out on the exterior of the male, right? Male will have the skin that holds the testes. All right, so it's outside the body for a certain reason. You notice as it's hanging outside, it's not inside the body. The reason is because the temperature, okay, the temperature inside the body will be much higher. It will be about maybe 37. That's our internal body temperature, and that is known to be not so conducive for production of sperm. But you notice that if it's outside, if it's hanging outside the body, okay, the temperature will tend to be lower. It's about maybe 35 degrees or 34 degrees. So when it's lower, it is actually more conducive for production of sperm. So you will see in the animal kingdom, right, for mammals especially, all the male animals will have the testes outside the body. Okay, like you'll see in dogs, right, cats, male cats, monkeys, horses, elephants, they're all outside the body. For the very same reason is to ensure a lower temperature so that the sperms, healthy sperms will be produced. Okay, now what does it do? Testes produces sperms, which are the male gametes. They carry the genetic material of the man, okay, or the father. And they also produce male sex hormone called testosterone. So the female hormone is estrogen and progesterone. For the male, it's called testosterone. So you need to memorize all this already. Okay. Now this is the cross-section of an actual, not as a diagram, not actual. It is a testis that's sliced open. You will see inside there are a lot of tubes. We call it seminiferous tubules that we will see in our next lesson when we talk about production of sperm. Okay, so millions and millions, very long. Okay, they are very long and they're very tiny. So it's all coiled up. So inside the these testes, okay, they are called seminiferous tubules, and they actually produce the sperms inside there. Okay, right, let me go on to the next one. Urethra. Okay, urethra for the male, for the men, urethra is part of the reproductive system. Okay, for the same reason is because the urethra is actually in the penis. So you see, this is the penis, right? The penis is the organ which is outside the body, all right, and it delivers the sperm into the woman's body. So you can see that urethra is there. So because it's there, the urethra is part of the system, and it also delivers the sperm. So the sperm passes through the same tube as the urine. Again, this is for you to know. So the same tube for the urine, for the sperm, for the male, but for the female is separate. Okay, urethra is a separate tube. It's not connected to the vagina. Okay, so here it discharges sperm. The function is to discharge sperm and also urine from the body. So they use the same tube, which is urethra. Okay, so you will see this long tube here, okay, which is connected all the way to the urinary bladder where the urine is stored. And here is also connected to the seminal vesicle, all right? You have this connection here. You also have this prostate glands there. Okay, so that's the urethra. All right, so here, the tube here. All right, so next, penis. All right, it's not pronounced as penis, it's called penis according to how it should be pronounced, called penis. So penis is muscular. Okay, it's a male sexual organ that is rich in soft tissues. So there's tissues here, all right, and vessels. So at this point, you will see that it is flaccid. Flaccid means it's soft. Okay, because there is not, it's not, the man is not aroused. So when it's aroused, it will become hardened, and you have what we call an erection. That is how the penis will be able to move or put into the female's vagina. But here you'll see it's flaccid. This is the normal way it should look like, all right? And it's muscular, all right? So it releases sperm into female's vagina during copulation. So copulation is another word for sexual intercourse. Okay, so I'll just write it here. This is more scientific way of saying it. Copulation, you can use it for animals. Okay, you can use it for humans as well. So sexual intercourse is more for humans. All right. So if it's not technical, you will say like having sex. All right. But try to avoid using these words. When you talk about having sex, is the right way called layman's term. But we talk about, writing in terms of science and all that, we will say copulation, or we say sexual intercourse. Okay. Now, so this is the organ. All right. You must know how to label it. And this is looks like the tissue, right? You can see this is the penis with a lot of blood vessels inside there. And the one that is labeled green here is the urethra. All right, okay? So it's actually very simple, all right? I'm just revising a lot of these parts for me. So I'm not going to go into 15.2, which is the gametogenesis, because that one is a little bit long, all right? So today I'll just settle with 15.1. Okay, lastly, we have scrotum. Okay, scrotum is just a piece of skin, actually. A piece of skin that is connected to your, this is the penis, right? Connected there, and it houses, or it protects the testis inside there. Okay, so it holds, it's a sac-like structure, it's actually a piece of skin here that holds and protects the testis. All right. Now, for a newborn baby, actually, the testis is still inside the body. Okay, I've seen a doctor actually test it. When the baby is born, they will, they do some health checks to the baby, and usually by the first day, the testis is still inside the body of the baby. But probably by the second day or the third day, the testis will descend. Descend means come out from the inside the body and move into the scrotum. Okay, sometimes the doctor will check and see, whether the testis has descended into the scrotum or not. Okay, right. So this is a fact for you actually. You didn't know, right? Babies, when they're born, the testis are actually inside. So it's after like 1 or 2 days and all that, right? Then the testis will descend. It will move automatically into the scrotum. Okay, and then it will stay until the rest of the baby's life. Okay, until the rest of his life. Okay, so now this is the last one, sperm duct. So sperm duct is the tube that connects the testis, which produces the sperm. So the sperm will move up the sperm duct into a place which we call the seminal vesicle to be stored. Okay, and also to allow the mixture of the semen, the liquid, and all that to produce your semen. Okay, so sperm is transported through the sperm duct. Another name is called vas deferens. Okay, so vas deferens is this one, same thing. Sperm duct has the same name as vas deferens. So here, okay, it connects all the way to the seminal vesicle. All right, okay, so that's all for today's lesson. Actually very short, just less than half an hour. So I did not want to, because this part is actually very short, okay? So I do not want to include with your 15.2, which is going to be quite technical. We talk about the gametogenesis, how the sperms are formed, and the ovum is formed. So I want to devote another lesson for that. Okay, so is there any questions? At the moment, I don't see any questions. I think it's a little bit easy for you, right? Okay, so easy means good. All right, easy is good thing. So it's something manageable. All right, okay. So next week, I'm going to go to 15.2, which is gametogenesis, production of sperm, production of ovum. Okay, any questions here? At the moment, I don't see any. So if you do have any questions, I'll be most glad to answer them. I'll try to find out for you. All right, and do send me a comment on my channel, or you can contact me through Telegram. Okay, all right, students, I will see you next week then. All right, thank you, Jia Wei, thank you, Jen Shen, thank you, Puan Ko, okay, for joining my class. Okay, thank you. I hope have a good evening. and do study hard for your exam. All right. I wish you all the best. Okay, patient. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Manisha. I will see you. Okay, bye bye.